This is the Turf Zone Podcast, your central information and news hub, bringing together professionals from turf associations across multiple states to share things to help you in your business. Brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Maryland Turfgrass Council. This episode is sponsored in part by Sod, world-class service on demand. Visit us online at www.buysod.com. Now, let's get in the zone.
Welcome to the Turf Zone. In this episode, we feature an article titled Research Updates from UMD, Turfgrass Variety Trial Update, written by Geoffrey Rinehart. Did you know that the University of Maryland Turfgrass Research Program conducts ongoing experiments to evaluate varieties from several different turfgrass species? Using data from these trials and in coordination with data collected by turfgrass researchers at Virginia Tech and the professionals from the Maryland Department of Agriculture and Virginia Department of Agriculture Seed Laboratories, the Maryland-Virginia Recommended Varieties List is updated on an annual basis to summarize the top varieties from several of the major turfgrass species used in the Mid-Atlantic, provided the varieties are available as certified seed and has been tested by either or both the MA or VA seed labs. Typically, these trials are conducted as part of the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program's research efforts, NTEP. Previously, high-performing varieties, which are not included in the most current NTEP trials, are planted and evaluated in supplemental trials so that the researchers can continue to evaluate these cultivars as one of the criteria for them to remain on the recommended list. NTEP conducts variety trial testing for all major cool and warm season turfgrass species in over 35 states throughout the country to identify top-performing varieties, both on a national and regional level. The University of Maryland's NTEP trials, as well as the annual MD-VA Recommended Varieties List, are an important part of evaluating varieties both locally and regionally and nationally and providing you, the Maryland turfgrass professional, with the varieties which will grow well and produce the best turfgrass for your customers. In fact, one of the requirements sod farmers in Maryland must meet is to utilize only varieties found on the MD and VA Recommended Varieties List. This summary of information can be found in the University of Maryland Extension publication, TT77. This and other UMD Extension publications are available to all members and industry professionals on the Maryland Turfgrass Council website. Currently, the UMD Turfgrass program has trials evaluating Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, tall fescue, fine fescue that includes red chewings and sheep fescues, and Kentucky bluegrass, the newest trial of which was planted in early October 2023. Fungicide Trials Update by Ferește Șerhevoși. In 2023, our team conducted several fungicide and nematicide trials at the UMD Paint Branch Research Facility to evaluate their efficacy against various turfgrass diseases and nematodes. The trials were mainly focused on brown patch and dollar spot affecting fairway and green height creeping bentgrass, brown patch on home lawn tall fescue, gray leaf spot on perennial ryegrass, nematicide trials on Bermuda grass and perennial ryegrass. Preliminary findings from these experiments were presented at our field day in July. Currently, we are concluding the studies and analyzing the data. For the trials with registered fungicides, reports detailing our observations and results will be made available on our program's website. In terms of disease progress in the season, May and early June were relatively drier and cooler than the usual averages for the season. This led to a delayed onset of diseases at the farm. However, as summer progressed, the typical weather patterns prevailed, leading to elevated disease pressure. Most diseases, including the brown patch and dollar spot, peaked during this period. By mid to late September, we observed a significant reduction in the prevalence of most diseases. For all resources associated with this article, check out our show notes. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit us at theturfzone.com.
You've been listening to The Turf Zone. Thank you to our sponsors, including Buy Sod, world-class service on demand. Visit us online at www.buysod.com. For more episodes of The Turf Zone, visit theturfzone.com and subscribe on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app.